to see if the audio is better. And if the audio sucks, then we're not going to do it. Then we'll just try it again tomorrow when we're plugged into a Cat5 cable. There you go. Let's see here. I don't know if anybody's come back to the broadcast or not. We're just going to have to see. And if there aren't, and if you want to submit a question, here's how you submit it. You go to WLS860@gmail.com, and in the subject heading, write "Late Night with Willie." Do that, and then I will see the questions here on my Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and I will, if there's a question that I think I'd like to answer, I'd like for you to know, then I will let you know. I will answer it. That's how it is. Because there are a lot of people who ask me a lot of questions about a lot of stuff, and sometimes I have a good answer for them, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes, the answer is, I don't know. The answer is, I don't know. Much better. Yay. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Nathan. You know what? A lot of, my favorite question that I've ever gotten for me was the afternoon that I spoke at my first Tea Party gathering in Tampa. Awesome. Thank you. Yay. Good audio. Audio good. Sound be good. Sound be good in my ear. The audio that I hear right here is fabulous. Fabulous, I tell you. But anyway, the first question that I remember getting as the beginning of my public life, and it's weird because that's just weird to say, my public life. Like I have a public life. I never even, I tell you, I never even phrased it that way until just now. I got off the first. This is funny because we always heard that the Koch brothers were funding the Tea Party and blah blah blah, and we were just another arm of the Republican Party and all this stuff. And I remember being asked by my friend Tom Gadens to speak at this gathering, and I did. I tried to crawl on the back of a pickup truck, and there was a microphone. I'll answer that question, Rebecca. Thank you. And I remember crawling, and there was a microphone attached to a guitar amp. Now, I'm going to give you an idea of how big this guitar amp was. I am not exaggerating. It was a practice amp. It was on the cab of the pickup truck, and that was our PA. Our platform was the back of a pickup truck. The podium was a music stand that I had actually written a speech. Can you imagine, Paul? Can you imagine that, Paul? I prepared. I wrote some crap down to say. That was the beginning of my public life. And when I got off when I got finished speaking, some lady asked me, actually some dude asked me, "Who are you? Where did you come from?" That was my first question in my public life. Who are you and where did you come from? And I thought it was very, very interesting. I basically said, I'm just a guy, Yes, those were the days. I'm just a guy. Just a guy. I'm just like everybody else. I'm a little more brave, but just by a little bit. I'm just saying what you're thinking. That's all. That was the answer to my question. Rebecca DeBoer asked in the chat room, will the White House leakers, people who are part of the deep state, as they're being named, ever be punished? Now I'll tell you what. I don't have any inside information. If you're looking for some, like Willie's got inside information because he knows people up there, that's not it. I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing everything that you're seeing. I'm hearing everything that you're hearing. And hey, Sarah, um, I'm thinking that the deep state that the media refuses to say exists, and that the left continues to say doesn't exist, exists. They exist. And we know they exist because obviously presidents appoint um, heads of departments, and those heads of departments hire people who have similar ideology, and they stay forever, you know, and they stay forever, and that ideology stays forever. That's the swamp that I don't believe will ever. Only death can drain that swamp. And that doesn't mean that someone needs to roll around killing people. I think what that means is that those folks will have to die off first. I think those that are leaking information to the press and the White House, especially after we get think about the ruling from the Fourth Circuit today about the travel ban. 205 pages of the most nonsensical bullcrap anyone's ever read. No. I don't think the people who are leaking information to the press, I don't believe they will I don't believe they will be caught, and thus I don't believe they'll ever be punished. And frankly, I don't think there's anything that Trump or any of his administration can do about it. I don't think they can. We are in a deep state time of deep doo-doo. Can I say doo-doo on BeLive.tv? Yes, doo-doo. If you hadn't heard, Rebecca, I'm sorry. I don't have a really positive, happy woohoo answer for you. Go team. I don't. I think that this kind of crap will go on. We have allowed this to go on. We have almost encouraged it. I did say doo doo, didn't I? Doo doo. But we've encouraged it. We support people who are who have set this up, and it's been set up for years and years and years. You understand me? Thanks. So I'm really of the mind that we are in much deeper trouble than we could have ever imagined. I think the best thing that a Trump administration may be able to do. Yeah, we're still on the air. They haven't come and got me. No one's knocking at the door. Anybody knocking at the door? No, they're not. That's my guitar. I'm just messing with you. But some of this ideology is buried so deep in places that work in the White House and work in government, both at the federal and state level, that are so deep we can't get to. They're not appointed. They're hired. They're there for their civil service gigs. We can't get down to them even. No, I don't think they'll be found out. I don't think they'll be punished. And I think the most we can hope for in a Trump presidency is some sort of respite from what's going on. Again, if you hadn't heard, the fourth district court struck down the president's temporary travel ban on 6 majority Muslim countries. 205 pages of the most ridiculous doo-doo you could have ever imagined. What it amounted to, and I know this seems like an oversimplification, but as you hear tomorrow and on about this decision, it was basically we don't like Trump. So anything that we get a chance to put the crap on, we're going to. Didn't even address the text of the law. It was more concerned with how Muslims in this country, as people of Islam, would feel. Mentioned that in the decision. Since when does a court rule on legislation based on how anybody would feel? Since when? Since when does the court say, well, this will make people feel bad, so I'm sorry, although there's really nothing wrong with it, this will make people feel bad? Since when? I was listening to Ben Shapiro on the way home from church tonight. And Ben said something because Ben is pitching in for Mark Levin, and Ben said something really funny that every April 15th, I feel the law makes me feel bad. It makes me feel alienated, and it makes me feel afraid. Every April 15th, can we do something about that? And it was interesting listening to Ben Shapiro. Just flipped out about this U.S. Fourth District Court. This Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling on this travel ban. And if you know if you know about Ben Shapiro is not a fan of Donald Trump during the election cycle at all. Not at all. So it wasn't like he was a sycophant. He was defending Trump. It was that these courts are part of the deep state and are completely and totally out of control. Are out of control. It's more than just saying we have an activist court. It's more than just that. The courts are deciding that their will is more important than law. And if it's their will that's more important, why even have a court? Then they don't really have any purpose. None. The crazy thing about this ban for me is that this majority Muslim country travel ban or travel restrictions are the same countries that the Obama administration picked as points of terror. It's the same countries, and frankly, the other 95% plus of majority Muslim countries aren't included in the ban. So if this is a ban on Muslims, this is the worst freaking ban on Muslims ever. This is the worst. Somebody should get somebody a damn map to tell them where the freaking Muslims are. Are you kidding me? This is the worst Muslim ban ever. Ever. We are in a world of deep state, and we are in a world of deep, and I'm going to say it again, mothers, cover your children's ears, doo-doo. Doo-doo. Mushy, green and brown, with corn, doo-doo. That's that, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. This is Ask Willie. If you've got a question, and I think it's a question that I can answer, either if I can answer it because I have a thought or an opinion, or if it's a question that doesn't delve too deeply in my personal affairs, I'll be happy to answer it or try to answer it anyway. We are high fiber. That's exactly right, Nathan. Nathan Going puts in the Facebook chat room. We are high fiber doo doo. Yeah, we could build a house with this doo doo. That's what kind of high fiber doo doo we're talking about. Yeah, green baby diaper, brown and yellow, high fiber, raisin bran, Chex Mix sort of doo doo. We're in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in huge trouble. Let's, excuse me. Hey, Bob Gutierrez, Michael Bob in the Facebook chat. We appreciate it. Appreciate you being here, bro. But so when you see the kind of stuff that mainstream media is covering and talking about, all of that's part of welcome to the world of distractions. Yay! Russia. Melania won't hold his hand. Yeah, that's what that's all about. That's all about. Look over there. Look over there. No, look over there. Ignore what's right here. Ignore what's right in front of your face. If we cannot get justice to protect the United States of America, exactly, Nathan. Squirrel. That's from the movie Up, a great movie, by the way. You might want to check that movie out. If you haven't seen Up, you need to check that movie out. It's a great movie. So the idea is, you know what, if we can't come to terms with getting justice to protect America from our own American courts, what position does that put us in? This travel ban is not a permanent travel ban. It's only like 6 countries, and it's only for like 3 months. It's only 3 months. We have a group of people in the Middle East that have been waiting to destroy America since its founding. You don't think they can wait 3 more damn months? Are you serious? You don't think they'll wait 3 months? You think that they'll give up after 3 months of travel ban? Are you serious? Now, I'm not the person. Yes, and you're exactly right, Nathan. I thought I mentioned that the countries in this travel ban were identified by the Obama administration. Obama. Yes. Then President Obama said these are the 6 countries that we need to keep an eye on, that we need to give the side eye to. President Barack Obama. President Donald Trump said, okay, let's do that then. Let's look at these refugees from these countries and let's give them a little bit more scrutiny. Not banning anybody, really. It's been called a travel ban, but it's not really. It's a little more extreme vetting. We got to find out who the hell these people are. Why? Because they're coming from countries that the previous administration said to America and Americans, people from these countries tend to mean us harm. So the current president said, okay, let's go with that. Sounds like bipartisan cooperation in what, set to help protect the country, right? Isn't that how you see it? If you don't see it that way, tell me how you see it. Tell me why you think Trump and the Trump administration picked those questions or those countries. Please, if you don't think it's the same, please try to explain to me how you think Trump picked those countries that refugees are coming from. Hey, Melanie, how are you doing? Melanie Collette, Money Talk with Melanie on SHR Media is in the chat room on Facebook. I hope she behaves. Melanie, this is the Ask Willie program. If you've got a question about, how I got here, what I'm doing, or although you understand my opinions on most things, or you just like to hear me rattle on about something aimlessly for 15 minutes, just put that question in the chat room. Or maybe a question that you got from somebody else about me. In any case, that's what today's program is all about. Right now, I'm rattling on, trying to find out why anybody thinks Donald Trump and his administration picked those 6 countries. Why? Because Barack Obama picked them. The previous administration and their investigation and all the stuff they had done had identified those 6 countries as being countries we need to maybe give a little extra attention to. So in a bipartisan move and an executive move to protect the United States, the current president said, okay, that's a good start. Let's start there. And the Fourth Circuit Court today upheld this stay on this travel ban, and it's not really a ban, citing some of the inconveniences of some supposed American citizens. Now, and this is what the mainstream media, when they are forced to talk about it, are going to say, but it wasn't really American citizens at all. It was relatives of American citizens that aren't citizens of the United States. Since when do they have any rights under the Constitution? And that's something else that we're going to have a real live discussion about. Executive orders protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry. If you go to the White House website, whitehouse.gov, you can go to the press office and you can actually read that for yourself. I'm frankly, right now, I'm afraid to open up another window on the browser. We finally got the audio all fixed up from the beginning of the program. I think if I open up one more window on the browser, I may bring down the internet on the eastern coast of the United States, because you can never tell. You can never tell. Let's see here. Let's see if this will open up. I got to get off the Wi-Fi, really. I really got to get off the Wi-Fi. Chilling like a villain on penicillin. I'm not even going to ask why you're on penicillin. I'm not even going to ask that, because that's just something I shouldn't ask, so I won't. I've already said too much. So this is one of the things that I'm very. It's the Russians. It's the Russians. It's the Russians. Run! It's the Russians. I'll explain the socks in a minute. These are about to be my favorite pair of socks, by the way. Yes. It's the Russians is part of. Yeah. So I'm trying. So Paul says in the chat room, as many windows as I have open, I could bring down both the east and central time zones for the internet. Yeah. So I'm trying trying not to do that. I'm trying to be a good internet citizen. I don't want anybody bringing up the whole idea of what they call it, net neutrality. Um, I want businesses to do what businesses do. So the executive order is on the White House website. This order does not intend to or does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural enforcement at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its department, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, agents, or other persons. There you go. So you can read all of it. It's fairly short. I mean, they've got it squinched, not mushed. That's different. Squinched in the middle of the page, so it goes down pretty far. But let's look at Section 3, Scope and Implementation of the Suspension. Scope, subject of the subject to exceptions set forth in subsection B of this section, and any waiver under subsection C, blah blah blah. Let's see. Pursuant to Section 2 of this order, shall only apply to foreign nationals of the designated country who are, one, outside of the United States, effective the day of the order. So it only affects, and this is a new one, it only affects people who are foreign nationals, that doesn't mean citizens, who are outside of the country. 2, did not have a valid visa as of 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 27th. 3, did not have a valid visa on the effective date of this order. You understand what I'm saying? So if you were a foreign national and you're outside of the country, so let's say you're in, I don't know, Iraq or Afghanistan, going there for your ISIS training, like the Army Reserve goes away from their 1 week in a month of Army training. Let's just say that's where you were. And here's the countries. A lot of people don't know the countries. We keep saying the country like everybody knows them, and not everybody knows what they are. And I will tell you who they are. It's pretty crazy. It doesn't affect. I mean, if you're in the country, if you're a foreign national and you're already here, it doesn't affect you. If you had a valid visa as of the day of the order or of January 27, 2017, this doesn't affect you. This doesn't affect you. This is only about getting more information about who refugees are. So let me tell you who these countries are, and let's see if you're good with opening up your doors to anybody, your neighborhood. Let's talk about your neighborhood, to anybody from these countries. Let's see if you're good with it. Here, my friends and neighbors, are the countries. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if I can get that to roll up on there. Let me go on. Let me read them off to you. Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, the Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. Anybody planning to go vacation in any of these places this summer? Anybody planning to go vacation in any of those places this summer? Why? Because they're such nice places. There's such nice people that all want to kill us all. There's no hotbed of terrorism in any of these places, is there? There's no training sites for ISIS, Al Qaeda, or Hamas in any of these places, is there? Well, maybe there is. And could it be possible? Could it even be possible that these these jihadists would be so cruel as to put themselves and hide themselves amongst women and children who are seeking refuge from war and enter this country as refugees. Could they be that cruel? Could the people who blew themselves up with a nail bomb and killed an 8-year-old in Manchester, England, think it cruel to attach themselves to groups of women and children who were seeking refuge in the United States? Really? How is it possible that they would be so terrible? After all, you know what? Most of these refugees are women and children, except that most pictures that you've seen of refugees have been ready to go war age men. When I say war age, I mean young men who are from 17 to 26 or 27 years old. War age men ready to commit jihad. My grandma used to have a saying, and she was referring to children who were out of control. But this really fits us right here in this country. She used to say, they're so free until they're foolish. They're so free until they're foolish. And we are indeed so free till we are foolish. That there are forces in this country that are trying their best to destroy it from the inside. I'm sure of it. I know this is Ask Willie and I, but I don't know why. You know what? Communists didn't go away with the falling of the Berlin Wall. Socialists didn't go away. Communists and socialists are still teaching in our halls of higher learning. They're still writing books. Communists and socialists are still entertaining us on the Broadway stage, in the Hollywood movies, on the radio and on iTunes and in our music industry. Now, I don't want to be McCarthy, but he wasn't wrong about everything. There's no law against being a communist in the United States. A communist I mentioned this on the morning program, a communist runs for president in this country every election cycle. Socialists run for president of the United States in every election cycle. The carbon credits as a tax, exactly. Thank you, Nathan. You know what? So please don't think that I'm on this witch hunt, that I'm looking for communists under every rock. I'm not looking for the great Red Scare. I already know the communists are here. I already know that they're in positions of high authority. I already know that they've infused every aspect of American life. I'm already sure of it. I'm not looking for them. As a matter of fact, you can stop looking for them because they're showing themselves more and more. You know, and I said this a few weeks ago, I think on my, it was on my morning broadcast. Every generation in American history has had some time that they had to fight for the Republic. Every single one. Since the beginning. Of course, the beginning in 1776 through 1789, and then again in 1812, and then again in the 1860s, and then again in 1917, and then again in the 1940s, with skirmishes in Korea, skirmishes in Vietnam, political war actions, Gulf War I, Gulf War Before that, Somalia. I'm sorry. And then Gulf War One, Gulf War Two. The fighting in Afghanistan. Every generation has had to fight to keep the republic. This is our fight. This is our fight. We have been preoccupied. We have been, I don't want to say lazy, but we've been preoccupied. We have been leading the world in almost everything. We have been getting very comfortable. We've spent a lot of time attacking one another. We've spent a lot of energy in being divided over silly stuff. And we have not noticed the wolf at the door. We have not noticed the wolf at the door. And now the wolf has taken this opportunity when we are the most divided to attack. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're not willing to see the enemy, okay, Paul Swanson says we've been lazy. And Nathan says, rightly so, we have been complacent. We have not, if we are not willing to see who the enemy is and name them, if we won't go that far, we're doomed. That's it. You know what? And that's the hardest fact. That is the hardest fact. If we are not willing to identify the enemy, if we cannot look at, for instance, and I mentioned this earlier in the program, if we are not willing to look at what the Fourth Circuit Court did to the president's executive order to vet refugees for 3 freaking months, we are screwed. If we can't look at that as an act of treason, because I believe that's what that is. It doesn't address the law. It doesn't address the executive order. It spends a lot of time talking about how bad Donald Trump is, and it even mentioned, and the 205-page ruling of Dudukaka even talks about some of the things that the president said when he was running for office. You know? Are you kidding me? Unless we're willing to have that adult conversation and say what it is, then we're screwed. We're screwed. We are totally screwed. Now, these conversations are tough because your relatives don't want to have them. Your Democrat relatives don't want to have these discussions. Your Democrat friends don't want to have them. Hell, your Republican friends don't want to have them. They don't. Because they're hard. They're tough. They're tough conversations to have. There's tough realizations to have. It's just so much easier. It's just so much easier to put a white hat or a black hat on a Republican or a Democrat and have them go at it like a like a dogfight at Mike Vick's house and cheer for your side and let that be the end of it. As opposed to looking at all of it and saying, you know what, we are being attacked from the inside. We have a cancer in this country, and the only way to eradicate that cancer is to come together, is to first of all recognize it. If you are somebody who actually gets cancer, you can't just say, I don't have it. You can't just be in denial, as Sarah Ball said, in the Facebook chat room. You can't just be in denial. If you got it, that's one thing. And you can have faith that you'll be healed, yes. But you can't be in denial that you have it. You can't say, no, I don't have it, when, when you're spitting up black gunk out of your lungs because your throat is all jacked up from throat cancer. You can't just say that you don't have it. Doesn't stop you from working on it. Doesn't stop you from believing that you're going to be healed. But being in denial is not faith. It's just stupid. And we are in the biggest case of denial in this country ever. We have got people in fairly high positions that are committing acts of treason. Paul put a definition of what treason is. You're welcome, Paul. I'm glad that I got that description out after you'd already eaten. Yeah, denial. Nathan Going writes in the chat room, denial is not just a river in Egypt. No, it's a way of life to say, well, I'm well read. I read the New York Times every day and the Washington Post, and these people have our back. And they're keeping a close eye out on all this stuff. And you're just full of all these weird right-wing conspiracies, blah, blah, blah. Except when you have a day like today where there's a 205-page answer or ruling that doesn't have anything to do with the legislation or the executive order. It has more to do with, we think Trump's a dick. So we're not going, because he says some terrible things, we think, on the campaign trail. We're simply not going to uphold or enforce this executive order from this president because we don't like him. Now, if you have the judicial branch of this nation in that sort of acrimony, or that sort of acrimonious relationship to the executive branch, we are in deep crap. You understand? For me, this is more than, well, you know what? It won't matter. It'll be okay. We'll get over these 90 days. And you know what? He'll stop asking, or he'll go to the Supreme Court and be decided one way or the other. The fact of the matter is that none of this crap should ever be going to the Supreme Court. This is not the function of the Supreme Court. It doesn't have anything to do with them. Understand? Don't you understand? That's what I'm talking about. And if you've watched me or you've listened to my program, you know that I'm not the gloom and doom guy. I'm not the chemtrails guy. Never have been. But you know what? We got to be able to see what's right there in front of us. And unless we're willing to see what's right there in front of us, it'll be the thing that kills us. Yes, the judicial branch shouldn't be making these decisions. on what good policy is. And they mentioned in this 205-page decision that they don't think it's good policy. Well, who the hell asked them? It's not up to them to decide what's good policy or not. It's not up to the courts to decide what's good policy or not. It's not their job. That's the job of Congress and the American people to decide what's good policy or not. So the court didn't have anything to do with, well, people don't like it. So what? Didn't have anything to do with them. That's not their decision to make. Nothing in this executive order that you can go to the Washington the WhiteHouse.gov site and read for yourself breaks the law. Nothing breaks the law. So you may not like it. Now, I'm not a fan of the executive order. As a matter of fact, let's see, I'm running out of time, so I got to talk a little faster. If I could possibly talk a little faster. Well, when I did the first broadcast after President Trump was elected on WTMP 1150 here in Tampa Bay, which is the urban station, I said, somebody asked me how he's doing, and I said, you know what? I wish that he would go the legislative route and not go so much the executive order route, because that's the same criticism that we had with Barack Obama. The left didn't have any criticism of Barack Obama when Barack Obama said, I'm going to do it with or without Congress's help, and started signing executive orders. And those of us on the right screamed and yelled and said he was a dictator, and this is a constitutional republic. He's not a monarch. He's not a king. We just raised all sorts of holy hell. You remember? You remember? So I'm not a big fan of all the executive orders, no. But this particular executive order, there's nothing illegal about it. Exactly. And Nathan, you're exactly right. And I'm going to mention Nathan's statement because we are still on live on Spreaker, so they can't see that. Nathan Going writes in the Facebook chat, but he's highlighting the executive law, not creating new law or policy, the existing law. Now, how crazy is it? See, that's something else that tells us that we're in a lot of trouble. That the executive order just tells everybody, oh, by the way, we are really just going to follow the existing law. That you've got to have an executive order to make people do what they're already supposed to do? And you don't think that we're in trouble? We are in a battle, ladies and gentlemen, for the Republic. I know that sounds hyperbolic, but I believe it's true. We are in a battle. We are in a tooth and toenail battle for the future of the Republic. And unless we realize that and do something about it, we're going to be a very different country very soon, much sooner than we could have possibly thought. And Sarah writes in the chat room that so many people are acting like that won't happen here. We can do this better, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as we got complacent that way, there was a day in 2001, the day before my son's birthday, that changed us forever. 3,000 Americans were murdered on that day. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get out of here, thanks, Paul. I want to remind you, I want to remind everybody who's watching or listening, whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching this rebroadcast on YouTube, because I'm putting this up on YouTube either tonight or in the morning after I get some rest. Obviously, my eye is itching because I'm sleepy. Scratching my eye on internet TV. We're running a campaign called Make the Switch. Hashtag Make the Switch. Because obviously you're not hearing any of this on mainstream media, what we've talked about tonight, that we all agree with. You're not hearing any of it on mainstream media. You're not hearing any of it. You're not reading any of this in the New York Times or the Washington Post or the LA Times or the Atlanta Constitution, Journal Constitution, or any of the or USA Today or any of the progressive newspapers. You damn sure ain't hearing it on MSNBC or NBC or CBS or even Fox News. You're not hearing it on any of those mainstream media outlets. So maybe it's time to get a slumgullion. I learned that word this morning. Slumgullion, I believe I said it right. Slumgullion, which is like a conglomeration of stuff, stew that you put in a pot, the stuff you have left over. A slumgullion of your information to make a change. I know that it's hard to change habits. I know a lot of people are have the dial on their home stuck on Fox News and went in the morning because there was no Bill O'Reilly and are frightened to death that there may not be a Sean Hannity on Fox News, and you're holding on to all hope that Tucker Carlson can hold his position there. But maybe there are other alternatives. On our Facebook page, if you go to Facebook and you search for hashtag Make the Switch, there are a number of alternatives there that you can switch out either Fox News, because Fox News is mainstream. They've got, and I've gone into that a number of times, so I don't have to explain it. If you can switch out Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or ABC or CBS or NBC for another source, especially for analysis and commentary. We'd love for you to start right here. You know, we'd love for you to start right here on the Exceptional Conservative Network or fightbackmedia.com. But you know what? There are other alternatives. You can go to my friend Paul Swanson in the Swanson Report. You guys see Paul in the chat room. Paul is a great friend and a great help, but Paul is also a really smart dude. Fantastic analysis, incredible commentary. Check him out. You can go to Paul Swanson. You can go to the Swanson Report. You can look it up on Facebook. There's a mobile app to help you make this switching out one of your major, your mainstream media news sources or information sources for an independent sources. It is fabulous. Do that. You can go to redriverchronicle.com. Subscribe to Red River Chronicle TV. My friend, Mr. and Mrs. Batts, Janelle and Kevin Batts, more great commentary, more great analysis, all sorts of other media sources. I think that, Paul, help me out. I think Monday, I think for part of the show on Monday, we're just going to go through a list of about 20, maybe 25 alternate sources for analysis and commentary, and put that up. How about that? What if we spend some time on Monday late night's program doing just that? All right, listen, we got to get out of here because you see I'm sleepy, right? I love each and every one of you for what you do and how well you do it. Pray for your country, folks. Pray for your nation. Pray for your leaders. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you.